Welcome to another episode of Ivy Backed. I am very excited to be back. I just got out of a car that had two young kids in it, and my wife was a champ. She drove so I could work. But that's what I've been doing for the last 2 days, so I'm pretty tired. But very happy that you guys are here and are joining for another episode of Ivy Backed. I'm gonna need your help on this one. This one is not as much preparation as I would love to have done, but we got to do some live a few weeks ago, and I really enjoyed looking at some live. So this is gonna be a mix between those two things on these three campaigns. But first off, thanks for joining, and we have a giveaway to do from last week. We have a giveaway to do today. And then I just want to talk about three campaigns today. We're talking about Deliverance, which went live like 2 hours ago and is already crushing it. We're going to be talking about Keystone North America, and we're going to be talking about XYZ Quarks. And we're talking about each of those for three very different reasons. And yeah, I'm pumped to dive in. Hi, Ilya. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Jacob, the dice guy. Jacob's going to be mad because I'm not talking about the orb dice. I don't personally need those. I think they are very cool, but I don't personally need those. So yeah, but thanks for being here, guys. Maybe a good day to revisit the Moonrakers campaign and talk lessons learned and why that should have changed around out of new chaos pages. Maybe next week. It probably would have been a good idea to do that because I know that campaign pretty well. But we're gonna stick with what I've got here. All right, so today we're gonna be covering a few things, but first we're gonna take another look at Robot Quest Arena. So I'm going to bring that up because this was our giveaway. Robot Quest Arena, this is just I still really like this campaign. I think it's awesome. I saw Alex from Board Game Co. talk about this and talk about a little bit of the price differentials there. I agree with the things that he said. I think it's something that you should decide for yourself on, but I really like this campaign. I really like it. I think that they did a really good job. And the reason I'm talking about this is our Kickstarter exclusive giveaway of Moonrakers Edition was which of these? I think 7. Yes, there are 4 base game robots and 3 additional expansion robots. Which of them is the cutest in your opinion? So we have to get a look at the 4 base ones and then the 3 add-ons. So I chose Jaws. I don't think it was the cutest. I think it was what one was your favorite. That makes more sense. But I chose Jaws just because I think he looks awesome. And then we got Kettle, we got Dozer, and then the original 4 are way up here. We got Pug, Crate, Petrie, and Strider. So let's go ahead and see what the winning comment is. We're going to do a random draw. If that random draw comment does not talk about one of those minis, we are going to discard it and draw another one. So just be aware that we may do another one, but I don't think we're gonna have to do that. Brett Jardin, for some reason, Petrie reminds me of a little Petri dish from the lab. Probably the name, because I don't think the mini looks like a Petri dish. Let's check that out. Kind of, actually. Where's another picture of the mini? It kind of does look like a Petri dish. I take it back. I thought it was just gonna be the name. But whoops. Brett, thank you so much for watching and for commenting. You are this week's winner. If you could join the Discord and reach out to us there or message us directly on another form of social media, we would love to get you this Kickstarter exclusive edition of Moonrakers. So thanks for joining for that. All right. So we are going to be talking about Deliverance first. And this game literally launched like 2 or 3 hours ago. I can't quite remember. They say they funded in 8 minutes. $39,000 was the goal. That was about what Moonrakers' goals was. And just to give you some reference, I think Moonrakers funded in the first hour. So 8 minutes is much faster. So they are crushing it. I think our first day on Moonrakers did about 100K. So they're blown by this. A couple of things to note. This is their first campaign. Andrew Lowen here has backed 132. And that's awesome, Andrew. Thank you for doing that. But Andrew is not a newbie to campaigns. This is the key thing here. If you're like, oh, well, I'm about to launch my first campaign and, I want to do as well as this. You totally can do as well as this. But this guy is experienced. If you look closely at their bio here, they have worked on board game brands such as Elder Scrolls, Star Trek, Fallout, Conan, Dune, Star Realms, Ascension, and more, and have raised nearly $3 million on Kickstarter through their marketing services. these people have experience, and it shows. It really does. We're not going to necessarily talk about the subject matter. I think it definitely is a really solid niche. This is a take on a demonic war with angels. I think I had a comic book that had something like this. It was called Archangel when I was a kid. It really reminds me of that, both in art style and in thematicness. Thematicness, that's a word. Everybody knows that. Hyun said Kettle. Kettle was awesome. I'm sorry, Hyun. He did not win. Yes, go to sleep. It's like, what time is it there, Hyun? You should be asleep. All right, you can watch this tomorrow. You don't have to watch it live. Anyway, okay, so they're experienced. They have a very niche audience. Like I could see people backing this just based on the. It's not like an IP that people know, but it's like associated with something that is very dear to many, many people. And so I think you kind of have that IP boost of a campaign. It's obviously not the same as having like an actual IP like Star Wars, but it is there where you have this connection to something that is familiar to people. Like they're going to be looking like, oh, is Archangel Michael here? Like they know things about what you are creating your universe, and it's not a brand new universe. So I think there's some solid crossover there. All right. Let's go down into the page. So we got a little bit of art. It jumps into what's in the box. And I think that my only thing that I'm like, I wish we got there sooner was just like gameplay is buried under what's in the box, what's in the box, what's in the box, what's in the box, what's in the box. But we talked about on the show before that what's in the box is not always a bad thing, right? Like if you have miniatures in your game, it could be a good thing. Like people are here for the minis in a lot of cases. So let's jump into this. So got some artwork up here. You got some what's in the box. You got a little bit more artwork and a little bit of the story here. And it's got this like angelic hosts meets war on Earth type feel to it. And I like that. It's a cooperative tactical board game. And it's 1 to 4 players, 14 plus. 14 plus. Gotta love it. All right. 1 to 2 hours, which is great. I love that time length. I see a lot of games that say they're 1 to 2 hours. They're actually 3 hours, but I'm not going to judge them on that. That looks like it could be a 2 hour game. All right. So what's in the box? First off, look at this graphic. That's so cool. This like golden sword and chest and all that. Like they did a really good job on separating their sections with good art. Yeah, we'll dive in. All right. So it's mostly standees in the base game. I don't actually remember if they're miniatures. I don't think there are, but let's get to the bottom here before I say there aren't. But there is a lot of content, right? There's a lot in this game. It's not light on components by any means. I think it's funny that they kept the plastic stands separate. I do wonder if those go to these minis or if they go to something else. Probably something different because there's 46 standees. So I'm not quite sure what those stands go to, but that's not important. What's in the box? Number 2, the deluxe edition. All right, so this is when you start getting the minis. And like I said, there are going to be people looking for Michael. There he is. There's your boy. I've never heard of Shula, but they're definitely taking some artistic license, and that's fine. There's not quite enough information there probably to have a whole holy war going on. Gabriel's definitely someone that's legit. Azrael's legit. Let's see. Maybe I just don't know enough about it either, but I think I'm pretty up to date on angels mentioned in the Bible, but we'll see. Plastic insert. All right, so it looks like the big differences between these campaigns are the minis and the insert and some upgrading components. But what I wanted to talk about with their pledge levels is they have a $1, $5, which is retailers only. We're going to talk about this on Keystone, but remember it's here too. I think retailers should always be the last pledge level, and we'll talk about why on Keystone. The base game, which we just talked about, and the deluxe edition, which we just talked about, but they have a $150, a $750 that has 21, and it's almost gone, and a $1,500 level that had 7 backers. So that is so big. And what they gave you basically was hand-painted minis and their prototype versions. So like you're actually going to get this game if you backed at that level right after the game funds, right after they clear your credit card and they're like, yes, you actually did give us $1,500. You weren't lying. And I always have reviewers that are like, what do you want me to do with this game? So like there are Moonrakers games that I have no idea what they did with them afterward. Like Dice Tower had Becca took hers home from game to game. But like, there's ones out there that I just don't know what happened to them. I'm sure they're on someone's shelf somewhere. But I'm like, dang, should I have been selling these on the Kickstarter campaign for $1,500? Because that's wild. Yeah. Jacob says, I hope they gave him a spare kidney too. Yes, $1,500 is not cheap, but I mean, people did it. Hey, Age of Adam, good to have you. All right. So people are talking about the metal coins, and I do want to get there. But we're gonna go into the all in. All right. So they've got their base game, and then their next pledge level, which is deluxe, I believe, and that has the miniatures. Then we've got all in. So what are we getting to? I think all in is a big mat and coins. I think that's the additional things. I'm sure you can pick these up separately in the pledge manager. I'm not positive about that, but that would make sense to me. And they're just like, we're going to put a pledge level on there that's like the game, the upgraded game, the deluxe version of the game, and then all the add-ons. And that's like your all-in pledge. I get that. The reason you would do that instead of waiting for it's a little bit of like a measuring I can't remember what those things are called. Scales. Like, it's good and bad. So if you have the all-in pledge on the Kickstarter campaign, it makes your overall funding go up. But Kickstarter takes a bigger percentage of it. If you have all your add-ons in the pledge manager, which is what IV does, your overall pledge level is not as high as it would have been if you offered all those add-ons on the Kickstarter campaign, but Kickstarter is taking more of that percentage for those add-ons. So we tend to do it in the pledge manager, but you could totally do it here. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I mean, they funded in 8 minutes. They're obviously going for like a big blitz of a lot of attention. I had no idea this was coming. I hadn't heard of it. So I'm pumped that they have done that. And I think it's really paying off for them. So that's really cool. Then we get Angel Investor. Granted, just recognize that we are halfway down this page and we're still at the what's in the box section, basically. So yeah. All right. Look at those hand-painted minis, though. They were not kidding when they said professionally hand-painted. These look really good. Like I'm not saying they're not getting their money's worth because they look really good. And you get a title of Angel Investor. Who doesn't want Angel Investor? Archangel Investor, $1,500. Like, it is, woof. It is a lot. And this is, I assume, what was his name? This is Andrew, I assume, who has this awesome T-shirt and has these copies ready to go. That's pretty cool. I like it. Up in his thing, it says he's also, I think, the father of 5 girls and like most patient wife of all time, 5 lovely daughters. Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure it's a minivan. So I am like steps away from getting a minivan because of this vacation I just went on and a small SUV. So I just feel like I'm just a little bit behind this guy's life stage, which is hilarious. But I mean, I'm really proud of, like, he should be really proud of how this has gone. This GIF is just so dang cool. Yes, it's metal coins. Yes, it's obviously 3D and animated. That's not actual metal coins spinning there, but that is a great way to show off your coins. These are not even currency. This is a first player tracker, and then these are like inspiration or courage or something like that trackers. But I think it's really cool. Doing the 1 on one side and 2 on the other side and being able to flip them back and forth is a genius move. Like, I'll tell you why. You only have to have 1 mold. You don't have to have 2 molds. You don't have to have a mold for your 1s and a mold for your 2s. You just have 1 mold, and it's 1s and 2s. It's smart. It's this guy. There's little things on this campaign that I'm like, that guy knew what he was doing when he was planning this out. Anyway, stretch goals. Looks like I need to reload because there's a gap here. Whenever you have a gap in a Kickstarter page, it probably means something has changed while you've been looking at it. Lots of upgrades on components. Lots of upgrades on like additional minis, which is awesome. I usually would say don't do that because you are risking just adding in more and more content and changing your insert and changing like your box weight and just like having to add more and more molds. But like, just based on the fact that they funded in 8 minutes, they knew they were going to hit $128,000. Like, I don't think this is a surprise to them that they're hitting $128,000. So I think that this has been planned from the beginning, but I say that about all stretch goals. Like, most stretch goals are smoke and beers. And that's not a bad thing. It gets people excited. It feels like they're investing. And I think it's a good idea. If you want to do a stretch goal campaign, it's a good idea to do stuff like this and to plan for it. And it definitely looks really planned. All right. We are over halfway down the page and we have just gotten to how to play. But yeah, I think that they did a really good choice in hiring Game Boy Geek. I don't know if you've seen his content. He's done some stuff for Moonrakers. He does really cool just like how to play videos, good content. I like his content a lot. They have the rule book and they have Play Now and Tabletop Simulator. This is a great section, a great section. It's well designed, it's engaging, and I think they nailed this section. The only difference between what I would hope to see in an IV campaign in this section was we usually make our own videos, but that's because we're a video production studio. Like animation, and we used to be a full video production studio, but animation and video is what we do. And so we're going to make our own gameplay video. But like, this is a great choice if that's not your chops, right? It's very expensive to get a really, really good video done in-house, whereas those people have studios set up and that's what they do. And so trusting them to make a how to play video is really smart. Becca Scott does really good how to play videos on her channel. And then also she does those with Geek and Sundry. So you'll see that a lot for people that don't necessarily make their own gameplay videos as well. All right, then we get into their actual gameplay on the page, how to play. Like if you're not going to play on TTS and you're not going to read the rule book and you're not going to watch that video, you just want a quick look at how to play, this is where you're at. And I think that they nailed this. Really good animation of just kind of like the game setting up and things happening. You don't necessarily, it looks like you're choosing your hero here. But yeah, I think that they did a really, really good job of mixing dynamic content like GIFs with text of what's happening on screen. And so it shows you that they're moving using the sinkhole ability, and this is what's going to happen. He's creating sinkholes. All right, cool. I'm going to skip through some of this, but I was really happy with this all in all. I want this GIF to load. There we go. So then you have the big baddies, and those guys look very scary. I like it. They don't have their own miniatures. I wonder if that's going to be revealed. They're all standees. Even the big baddies are standees. The only miniatures so far that I've seen are angels. So I wonder if that's going to be something that people ask for. It seems like it will be. One of the most transparent ways to illustrate your game is to let others play it a bit. That's why this section is crazy. Yeah. Yep. They obviously feel good about their game considering they have all of this right here. And that's why we took our games to TTS too. It's like we want people to play them and see what it's like before. The reason we didn't do it with Moonrakers is like, man, Moonrakers, we were really investing heavily into the quality. And as a first-time creator, people didn't understand that. And not understand it, they just weren't aware. Like they didn't understand what it was going to be like when they got it. And we really wanted their first time experience in the game to be with those quality components that we invested in. We've since obviously released the TTS mod for Moonrakers, and we released it for Veiled Fate, even though Veiled Fate has that similar level of polish. But for our first game, when you didn't have any reference point, we wanted people's first experience to be with playing it in person with the physical copy. Then the pandemic hit, and that changed all of that, didn't it? Anyway. Game reviews. Sam Healy. So obviously former Dice Tower person, now works at Mythic, or at least last time I checked he did. Very good review from him. Lots of really solid reviews. You got Dice Tower, you've got Unfiltered Gamer, you've got just a lot of recognized names. I do think I wish we'd see at least a little bit of that up here, right? Like, because we got a very basic what's in the box, just kind of like a bunch of content there, and then some story. And then we've got just like very how to play in like 3 paragraphs. And then it's all what's in the box, 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 what's in the box. I just wish there was some quotes sprayed throughout because they have really good quotes. And they're not in a bad spot here. I just wish they were either duplicated other places or, we're done somewhere else. This is really good too. I like how they did this. It's like a video that you can go and see where they said this. I've talked about that on a lot of campaigns as well. Something we're adding to our campaigns for the next campaign. Shipping section, once again, one of those really good heading things that's really separating stuff between them. I talked about that up above. This is very small print, but it's not so small that you can't read it. It's a good shipping graphic. They talk about VAT charges here. We're offering a $7, $9, or $12 shipping subsidy, depending on pledge level, to all backers from our actual shipping and VAT charges. So it looks like they're trying to be transparent about how they're subsidizing it. It's a very hard thing to talk about, right? It's very confusing. It takes a lot of understanding to understand to even have an understanding of how that works and what it's applied to and what it's not applied to. And it's just hard to try to convey all this. And I don't think they've done a bad job here. This is fine. They talk about their team. That was Andrew with the minivan. And then they go through all the different people that work there. We need to add these to Ivy games. We haven't done this on our games, but we definitely should. Yeah, that's that campaign. Jacob said technically the mods released one for Moonrakers. Okay, I helped a little bit. I at least said here's all the files. So here or there. But yeah. Calm down, Brad Pitt. What did I say? What did I say? That was Brad Pitt. I didn't catch this live. Dang it. You were talking about quotations last time, Matt. Yeah, you're totally right. They at least have them, and I think that's great. I just want them to be spread higher because I want to see that Sam Healy. I want to see that Sam Healy quote higher. Right? That's a really good quote. I don't know if you guys could see it. It's kind of small on my screen. Deliverance is packed with thematic goodness. Each time I've played it, I came away feeling like I'd been enacting the pages of a Frank Peretti novel. If you don't know who Frank Peretti is, he's an author that writes content similar to this. It's a great answer to hitherto ignored genre, Christian fantasy dungeon crawler. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. So they definitely hit a really great niche with this. And I think that's it's not a bad way to go about it. Like hitting niches as your starting point is why they've funded so fast. That and their experience marketing other games, but they hit $100,000 really, really quickly. Like in the first hour that I looked at it, I saw it right away and it was already above $100,000. I think this campaign will do really well. All right. Talking about niches, we're going to be talking about Quarks. XYZ Quarks, Season 1. Season 1 implies that okay, I get it now, Jacob. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Yep, calm down, Brad Pitt. Got it. Thank you. I'm here. Alex, what time does this thing start? How dare you? Alex, I will now officially be starting at 4 o'clock every Tuesday, I think. It's on my calendar as 4 o'clock every Tuesday. I am sorry. But thank you for joining. You missed me talking about, I called you out at some point. I don't remember what I said about you though, so you can just ignore it. All right. XYZ Quarks, Season 1. Sneak around the zoo, cultivate a garden, and pull off a heist. Those are 3 different games. Don't worry, I'm not trying to do all of those things. Although I do want to see a game where you're trying to do all 3 of those things at the same time. That kind of sounds like Merchant's Cove, which I have. Oh, dang it, Zach has it. I'm really excited about that game. I'm not excited to teach it, but I'm really excited to play it. Is that weird? Did you guys have games like that where you're like, I do not want to teach other people how to play that, but I cannot wait to play that? I also just backed War Room, and I feel the same way about that. I don't know when I'm going to have time to play that because I have a kid that's 3 months old and a kid that's almost 3. So anyway, but that's neither here nor there. All right. XYZ Quarks Season 1. Season 1 implies to me that there's going to be a Season 2, and I'm excited about that. They're not funding extremely well right now. I think it launched today or recently, and I think it will definitely hit it. There is a huge market for this, and why? It's travel sized and and optimized for travel. I just traveled for 9 days where I was driving around the country, and I took what games did I take? I took Dune Imperium. I took I'm not going to try to list all these. I took like 7 games, and they were sliding around in my back seat. The boxes got damaged. I'm just like, dadgummit, what games should I bring when I go places? And I didn't even play Dune Imperium because it was too heavy, which I know it's not that heavy of a game. It was too heavy for the audiences I was with. We actually played Hidden Leaders twice. And that was perfect because it's like a small box, but that also was like a box I was worried about getting damaged because it was a prototype. And so anyway, they have come up with this system called XYZ Quarks, which was developed by Game Trays. And it is like it's a little plastic holder. I've seen people bake these themselves at homes out of like old like VHS tape holders and like all kinds of random things where they just custom design a box that is much smaller than the actual box, and they throw a bunch of stuff in it and they take it on a travel. I've seen a bunch of people throw them in a suitcase for a cruise, and that's like wonderful, especially like Dice Tower Cruise and stuff like that. People just like shove a bunch of components in their bag and not all the boxes. And so I think there really is a good market for this. And what we were just talking about on the last campaign, Deliverance, was hitting a niche. And Deliverance went for it with theme. Like that Christian dungeon crawler is very niche, right? There's a lot of people that would be turned off by that theme. And maybe that's the same case here. Maybe some people are like, well, if it fits in that box, is it something that's the weight I want to play? And I'm sure that will turn some people off. But this, for me, is a different niche. It's not thematic. It's ease of access. It's just something that's a different look at a board game box. Like most board game boxes are square, rectangle, cardboard pieces. Like there's occasionally something like Tortuga that's amazing, one of my favorite games. It's a book, and they have a whole series of those. That's like those books that open up, and that's amazing. But this is something I haven't seen before from a company. I've seen people home make them, like custom make them, and I think it is enough for this campaign to be successful. XYZ, this is not their first game. They've had 3 other campaigns. And they've got these 3 game bundles that you can do for $30. They're each $12. So it's a savings of $6 if you do all 3. I think that's a good pricing place to be. Those are very inexpensive games to begin with. And then you're saving $6, which is a lot by backing all 3. Now, we could have a longer conversation about all Kickstarter campaigns do not charge enough money. I was just watching James Hudson's stream on Facebook a couple days ago, which if you don't follow James Hudson on Facebook, I would recommend doing that. He talked about the current state of publishers and where we are at with shipping, because shipping quotes are coming in wildly higher than they were last year. And that's all a symptom of pandemic. There's crates that are very hard to get and they're very expensive. There's all of these problems that are compounding to where you're just not making margin. And James talked about this for a long time. And so whenever I see a price point that low, it does make me worried. Not that they won't be able to fulfill it. I think that they will be able to fulfill it on that. It's just, was it worth it for them to fulfill it at the end, right? Like, I'm not concerned they're not going to be able to deliver these games. Don't hear me say that. I'm just worried that it's not going to be worth it to them in the end to fulfill these games, because it's so expensive to make anything right now. And so what I want for them is scale. And they're at 134 backers. I want to see, very, very higher, very, very, very higher, guys. I slept a lot last night. Very, very high. I want to see this just blow up. And I think it should. I think there are a lot of people that want travel and games. And even if one of these is a hit and the other 2 are just okay, then it's going to be worth it for me. And so they talk about each one individually. You've got a zoo one, and they've got how to play sections that have GIFs. And then they've got, planting a garden one. And they talk about that. My GIF isn't loading because I opened these pages long ago. And then they have, I'm going to go back up to the top because I like this one. A heist, pull off a heist. I love heist games. I want to do a heist game later in my career. Bait and Switch, a 2-part social deduction game for 3 to 9 players. Each round, you'll discuss a heist and pick a crew to join. After the heist, you'll decide whether to stay loyal and split the loot or double cross your crew and keep it all for yourself. After 5 rounds, the winner is the player closest to 35 points without going over. That, like, they have sold me just on that paragraph. It's too small. I can barely read it, and I have it very zoomed in. But, like, I want to play this game, even though it is this Quarks thing that brought me in the first place. So, like, we're buying all 3 of these. I want to try it out. I want to have these just in my car and it able to take into a coffee shop or take into a dinner. My wife might be upset about that, but take into a dinner and just, like, be able to play while we're waiting. Yeah. All right. I need to look at comments because I totally missed things. It was about yes, that is what I mentioned, Alex, about. For Central Time, you were right. What's your opinion on multi-game campaigns? Would IV ever do this? I'm not going to say we'll never do it. If we were going to do it, it'd probably be smaller like this or something very thematically tied together. There was a Dinosaur Roar and Write that was with a Dinosaur Island game, I think. I could see us doing something like that where, like, thematically and art-wise, they're the same. I think if the art is going to be different, it probably wouldn't be in the same campaign for us. I'm not going to say never, but it just like we wouldn't do a Moonrakers Veiled Fate combo campaign with expansions. I don't think. We'd rather just have one have its own spotlight. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea, especially not with small games like this, because there's some crossover here, right? Like they only have 134 backers right here, but if all of them have the 3 games, then their scale is a lot higher. They're at, only on some of the components, like this Quarks box is suddenly at 900 boxes instead of 300. So, 300 boxes instead of 100. So there are some economies of scale thing that'll go from doing these together, and they do have some crossover, like the box and the size of components. So I'm not opposed to 2 campaigns that do it. I'm not sure IV will ever do it. I did take El Dorado with me. I don't know how you knew that, Dark Fox. I must have put a picture in Discord. All right. I'm reading things. Justin talking about Merchants of the Dark Cove or Merchants of Cove. Super cool, but like you, I really do not want to teach it. Ease of access is super important. It's nice to have a game that's made for travel. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, like I'm pumped about that game. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about that, but yeah, pumped about that game. Dark Fox wants me to do a heist game. I was working on one earlier this year, and it was like kind of like D&D mixed with a heist game where like each player had like different stats and like you'd have like agility checks and things like that. And it was just too complicated and I backed away from it. And I jumped into a game that we're codenaming Starfall for now. If you want to play it on the Discord, we're going to start playing it more in the next few months. Justin says my favorite travel games are Railroad Inc. and Jaipur. Very, very good calls. Both of those games are great. I actually haven't played Jaipur, but Zach and Max love it, or maybe just Zach loves it. But no, Max loves it too. So I need to play it. All right, I've gotten off topic. I'm going to get back into this campaign. I'm not going to go too much more deep onto it, but this is a very interesting box. And Game Trace designed it. We love Game Trace. We just had Bryce on the show last week or 2 weeks ago for IV Games Weekly. But these things stack. They have a very secure lid. Like I am excited to check these out for sure. All right. They hired Man vs. Meeple and Unfiltered Gamer, and I think I also saw Tantrum House to do their promotion for that, or not promotion, to do their external verification. And so we have them talking about all three, I believe. And yep, it looks like they have at least 2 of them there. All right, that's probably all 3. And I kind of wish there was just a video for each in the sections above. And I think that's going to be my only critique on how that works, right? Like, I want there to be a how to play like 2-minute video or minute video for the Zoo Year's Eve, which is a great name. If you guys missed that, Zoo Year's Eve, it's wonderful. Cultivate, which is a great name too. And then Bait and Switch. I like all of those names, actually. Good job, XYZ. I wish there was a video with each of these. And maybe there is like an individual video for each, but like I don't want to have to watch Tantrums all 3 and then Unfiltered Gamers all 3 and then Man vs. Meeples all 3. I'd rather just be able to click through each of them. But yeah, these are good. They have a very simple shipping section. They talk about VAT, which is good. They talk about it being custom-friendly shipping, which is still important because you can be custom-friendly shipping and still require people to call VAT or pay VAT, which is required by law. It's this really weird, complicated system where like it kind of seems like you have to charge VAT. It's not like an option on whether we're going to split it with you or not. It's like you have to charge it. But yeah, well, don't take what I say as law. That's just what I've kind of deduced from our conversations with our partners. They have another a big team, and it kind of looks like they break it down by each of the games, which I think is really cool that they worked with 3 different illustrators, got 3 different art styles for this. So really cool little campaign. I'm excited to get these games and excited to check out their system. I really want it to do well because I want there to be a season 2. So share about it on social media and stuff because I think they deserve it. I think they did a really good job with this. Plus, they're in Chicago. Chicago's a cool city. Matt, should multi-campaigns include games for non-hardcore games? Otherwise, the pledges can go up to the sky, I think. Non-hardcore gamers. All right, so I talked about this a month or 2 ago in the Hellboy campaign. It was like a really big game with miniatures and a bunch of stuff, and then like a really small dice game that was just like tacked on with some expansions. And I found that odd because I didn't think the audiences matched. But if you love Hellboy, maybe that was the crossover. And so I think it actually did pretty well overall, that the campaign was very successful. And in which case I was wrong that the audiences did cross over. And so there's a lot of different ways to combine games that make sense. My favorite one is the Roar and Write, the combo that they did there, because it was very different mechanics with similar art style. And I like the way they approached that. So yeah. Rep in Chi-Town. Yep. I just, want to come get some pizza. Cool. All right. How long have I been going? 33 minutes, guys. I'm going to come in short today. I did it. I'm probably didn't go into depth enough on some of these, but I'm still happy that I was able to not go for an hour today, mostly because I'm very tired. All right. Keystone, North America. First off, $62,000, 1,000 backers. Congrats to them for breaking 1,000 backers. That's awesome for them. Plano, Texas. I love the look of this and backing it. And I honestly might re-gift this eventually. And they're IV games, so I'd have to reimburse IV games. They're IV's games, so I'd have to reimburse IV games if I did that. But I have a brother-in-law that loves like parks and just nature and things like that. And I think him and his child, who's very young now, but would love looking at the different artwork. It's very art. The art is very natural history, natural. Like you're looking at what a wolf actually looks like. It's not stylized at all. And so it's definitely something where they were going after educators. And you see that a little bit on their page. And I want to just jump to that before we talk about the rest of the page. And this is something like there are so many different niches, like we were talking about. Wow, this is way further down the page than I thought it was going to be. There's so many different niches, right? Like if you had the right context, you could possibly sell a game like this to the public school system in a state. And it's like, oh, wow, like that's a huge sale. Like, yes, you wouldn't make your whole MSRP on that probably. But like there are so many different ways to go about doing this kind of stuff. And I think all three kind of had their own niche for this. Like this is going to be educational. All right. First off, header. That is the cutest little mouse. Anyone want to help me out and say what that is? Anyway, it's very cute. Keystone, North America. Explore the beauty and wonder of North America's wildlife. Awesome. I like the artwork, and I think they've done an amazing job with this header image. I wish they would have filled up the boards a little bit more, but that's just very nitpicky, and I'm not really sure what gameplay's like, so maybe that's what the end state of a board normally looks like, but I have a feeling it's probably not. 60 unique species to discover. Why back now? Guys, I love why back now sections. Lowest price, early delivery, support educators. Dang it, there it is. We're committed to giving free copies of the game to educators, teachers, and librarians around North America. In each of our updates, we will announce new winners that we will be gifting copies to. By supporting the game, it helps us make this possible. If you would love a copy of Keystone North America for your classroom, click here to sign up. See, here I am. Really tired, like I said. Talking about, oh, it's a niche where you can make money by selling it to schools, and they're just giving it away because they're good people. You guys should back this campaign because of that. I was here thinking about how to make money, and they're thinking about how to help kids. They do have to be careful. Kickstarter has some guidelines on charitable contributions from Kickstarter funds and just like how you use that. So if you are backing this campaign or just like thinking about launching your own campaign, I highly encourage you to read Kickstarter's guidelines on that sort of thing. We actually got in veiled fate. We went astray of the Kickstarter law. We wanted to add a new pledge level, and if you want to go find out why, Alex has a video about this that we did an interview with him and talked about why we added a new pledge level. And a part of that pledge level was giving a $10 discount on the Make It Metal pledge, because we wanted to reward the people that had backed that level, the highest level, just because like you could have backed the really low level with the really low quality stuff and just added metal minis. And we didn't want that to become a temptation for people. We wanted people to have the really good experience with the upgraded components. And so we gave them a $10 discount. Well, Kickstarter was like, hey, we're going to shut down your campaign because you can't give discounts on things that you've already set, basically. Or like, you can't give discounts on things. We got reported by someone that wasn't happy about something. I don't know. Anyway, so we had to talk to Kickstarter for like very terrifying 2 days. We were like, please don't shut down our campaign. And we're like, well, can we give them a $10 discount on shipping for the campaign? And they're like, yeah, we don't control that. We're like, it's the same thing, but knowing the Kickstarter rules is really important because you don't want them to shut down your big campaign. And they don't want to shut down your campaign. That's like not fun for anyone. So anyway, we worked it out. And I don't think Kickstarter is going to come after them for this. But I have seen like there was a campaign where like they were doing like it's like a dog theme, and they were giving money to like dog shelters as like a percentage of the money that was coming in. And I do think Kickstarter frowns upon that for some reason. Anyway. Oh, hey, Alex said Keystone is great. We really enjoyed it. That's good to know, Alex. Thank you for that. All right, so I'm gonna say it because Alex is here waiting to see if I say it. I think I was not gonna say it and just be like, ha, I didn't talk about it. So Moonrakers also made this mistake. So I am commiserating with them, not calling them out. I just want to be really clear. Moonrakers made this mistake. We screwed up our retailer pledge. We put $100 and 4 copies of Moonrakers for that $100. And so we had tons of commenters, tons. I'm just like, I felt like my whole job for a day was just responding to those commenters that are like, oh my goodness, retailers are getting this $65 game for $25, and that's how much we should be paying, and like all this stuff. And it's because we messed up. We didn't anchor the price correctly. That is not how much those retailers were paying. That was a deposit on the retailer edition. We did give a discount to retailers. You have to give a discount to retailers. That's just common sense in the whole logistical flow of how games get to retailers. Like that's not a surprise, but $25 on a $65 game is more than half off, which is a very big surprise. We do not give half off even. So the people thought we were giving like 70% off or something like that. Anyway, not important. They have made a similar decision or mistake. I'm not going to call it an all-out mistake. Like it's not a bad thing that they've done here. They have also done this pledge level is only for brick and mortar stores, retail stores. That's exactly how we did it. This is a deposit, which give you access to a separate pledge manager with reduced prices that will be open for longer. See the retailer section for details. They did that way better than we did. We got lucky in that we just chose that the deposit was $100, and so that was under everything else. I think that they would have been luckier if they had the pledge $30 be a pledge for higher than 45, 65, or 110. And the reason is that it's not the first thing people see, because if you're just looking at $1, $30, $45, you can be like, cool, like, well, I think I want to spend $30 on this. Well, then you're like, crap, this is the retailer pledge. And it's like, oh man, are they getting the games for $30 when, like it just like it puts an anchor in your mind. If you haven't taken any sales lessons or courses, there's something called price anchoring. And Costco does this. So let's talk about it in the sense of Costco. Costco, when you get in their store, you right up front is the jewelry and the big screen TVs and the cameras and everything's thousands of dollars, and it doesn't seem discounted. You're like, why would I buy this here? Like, this is not a good deal. Costco does that on purpose so that everything else in their store seems cheaper. Sorry if I just burst your bubble. Also, they don't make any money on chicken. The cheap chicken at the very back of the store, that's just to get you to walk to the back of the store. Like, they don't make money on that. Also, Costco makes almost all their money on the membership rates. Anyway, too much talk about Costco. But price anchoring is when you put a price in people's mind that is like, man, like, I'm not going to spend $1,500 on that Deliverance pledge, but I might spend $750 on that Deliverance pledge, which still blows my mind. That's awesome for you guys. Good job, Deliverance. But this is poor anchoring. This is, you're anchoring too low, with this being the first pledge level that's not the $1 pledge level is something that no one can back unless they're a brick and mortar store. So that, I feel like it should be lower in this. And all of that coming back to Moonrakers made the exact same mistake. Like, I am not saying that we're better than them. Like, we screwed the same thing up, in my opinion. So anyway, going from there. Cool. All right. I think that was the main thing I want to talk about with the pledge levels. Let's just talk about the page. Okay, so this is stuff that I really like. They've got like some gameplay and some like just talking about North America and the different species, the Why Back Now section. Then we get into components. Like, I feel like they did enough at the top of the page to get me interested before they just threw components at my face. And in this game, they don't have miniatures. They don't have any really flashy components. And that's why you're seeing it below that a little bit. And so I'm excited that they did that. I think they did that really well. The 4-player boards, I love that there's a design upon closer inspection. If you look closely at that board, there's like a floral, like leafy pattern. If that was just green, I would have called it out. Like, it just needed to have a little bit more design. Up here, I can't tell that it has a floral design very well. It looks just green. And so I was kind of like, oh, that's not my favorite thing. But down here, I get to see that, yes, it does have a floral design. And I like that. All right. I said they don't have like unique components, but these tokens, everything's really nice looking. It's not bad looking in any way. It's not that they shouldn't feature their components, because they have nice components. It's just not like we've got 30 minis, right? So, all right, gonna keep on going from there. The art is so good. I mean, I don't like possums, but like the polar bears and stuff, it's really good. Deluxe edition, you get to vote on the animals that are on the box. Stuff like this is brilliant. Get your backers involved. I love this. We did some stuff like this where we were like voting on city and age cards in Veiled Fate. This kind of thing is why Kickstarters are differentiated from just buying at retail. Like, you get to be a part of it, and I love that. I think they did that really, really well. And like changing the box, and like that's like a huge thing. That's like what people see, and so giving that control. Luckily, they're not going to get Bodie McBoatface. Like, they're not going to have people randomly putting it in. I'm sure it's like a list of 60 animals or less that you get to choose from. Hopefully, the possum doesn't make it, because I'll turn the box opposite so you can't see the possum, because I do not like possums. But anyway, All right, I have not been paying attention to chat at all. I'm the worst. Okay. Oh, and go sleep. Kevin, I need an episode about Costco. All right, that was the episode. This is the Costco episode now. At my internship, we buy the rotisserie chicken for $5 and split it between 2 people for lunch. Steal. Yes, the food's cheap too. I forgot to talk about Costco food. Yeah, that's another get you in the door kind of thing. Too bad you can't price anchor. Too bad you can price anchor from high to low on KS. Too bad you can. I don't get that one, Kevin. You're gonna have to talk to me about that on Discord. You can't. I'm glad you clarified that. You can. It's just a little risky, right? Like, like yeah. There's games where it's like there's a $3,000 pledge level, and you're like, babe, I did back the $1,000 pledge level, but it could have been the $3,000 pledge level, so you should be happy. So that's funny. Yeah, it's a deal to go all in. Oh, I see what you guys are saying, Jacob and Kevin. Yes, usually it's structured. People don't usually outprice themselves. It's not like, yeah, you could buy the all-in pledge, but it's actually 150% more if you just buy the pieces individually. Yeah, like that doesn't happen. You're right. You're right. It doesn't happen. Bodie McBoatface. You can't short pledges high to low. Sort pledges high to low. Oh, yeah, that would be very different if Kickstarter did their pledges from high to low. Huh. That would be fun. All right. I'm going to, ooh, guys, here's, I was talking about I didn't like their player boards. Look at these player boards. This is me not looking at this page close enough before we started the show. The deluxe edition. Dang it. Now I have to back the deluxe edition. What pledge level was I at? I think I was just at the $45, so I'm gonna have to bump it up to the $65. Those are really nice. Good on them. That was smart. As it probably cost. So the cost difference here, just to be clear, it costs the exact same amount of money to print this stuff as it does this stuff. So the deluxe nature of it is that they paid more for the artwork, and then they're also having 4 different prints, right? Because, well, I guess it's going to be for the 4 different players. That makes sense. Includes the standard pattern design on the back. They will also have a linen finish. Those are very nice. I think that's a great idea. The artwork is what you're paying for there, because it's basically the same amount of money. I mean, the 4 different designs do add a little bit of money because it's not just the same thing 4 times, but you're paying for the art there. Ooh, that playmat's pretty. I might take it back. This is really good components. It doesn't have minis, but I mean, why would you have minis in this game? So the artwork's really good. Who is their artist? Let's check it out. That's a lot of external verification. That's good. Not tons of bigger names, but that's good sometimes. I like seeing some other people. 1 minute tutorial, a Tabletopia walkthrough. I don't like Tabletopia, but it's good that they have that. All right, who's your artist? Okay, here we go with gameplay having just the white text thing again. That's fine. They have GIFs. I would rather this than just the GIFs by far. And the GIFs are really nice. I'm kind of surprised they don't have these designed because everything else on the page is so well designed that I feel like they could have easily just plopped this onto a background like this and just, I'm going to look for another box that kind of looks like what I'm going for here. Yeah, just like something like this little section right here. It's fine. A lot of people don't quite value gameplay GIFs as much as I do, I guess. That's long too. That's nice. It really explains the game. Solo mode. All right, who's the artist? I want to see the artist. Oh, there are a bunch of artists. 1, 2, 3, 4 artists and a graphic designer. 2 graphic designers and an art director. No wonder the artwork's so good on this. They really invested in the art. Good on them. Taxes and VAT. Ooh, that is the first time I have seen a whole section just for taxes and VAT that was designed. Interesting. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, EU. I've never seen Canada, Australia, New Zealand broken out like this. Usually it's just wrapped up into production costs. But United Kingdom and EU, obviously, it makes sense. Michigan and Texas, yeah. Where are these people? Oops, wrong one. They're in Plano, Texas. I wonder if that's why they're having to do Texas. I got to look into that. Cool. Really cool campaign. Dang it, I'm at 49 minutes. All right. I'm going to call it there for talking about those. Let's do a giveaway. I want to hear what you guys think about these. I want to know what you guys think about these little containers. We've been talking at IV about doing a smaller game. Our next game is much smaller than both the Moonrakers and Veiled Fate. Wait, no. I'm sorry. Our next game after Mythic Mischief, Veiled Fate, and Moonrakers is much smaller currently in its current shape is much smaller than all three of those. It won't be this small though. This is very small. But I want to hear what you want to think about these Quarks boxes. Is that what they're calling them? Quarks box. In comments, we'll give away a Moonrakers Kickstarter edition to one of you for commenting on that. I want to hear what you think about these Quarks boxes because I think they're really sharp. I wonder if Bryce did them. I'll have to ask him when I talk to him tomorrow. But yeah, they did a cool thing here. I think that's really neat. Jacob, yes, I was talking about Starfall. Starfall is currently it's going to change. Some tokens. It's a lot of tokens, but they're all basically the same token with a different number on them. And then it is 4 different colors for that. Player boards, 1 board, and like 30 cards. Like it's not a ton there as far as components. So yeah, I'm pumped about it. Why wouldn't I have minis tomorrow instead of me at work? I'm sorry, Matt. I missed this. I don't know it. Is Keystone a series of games? Noticing the subtitle. Alex, do you know? I don't think so, because Keystone, maybe they're going to do like a Keystone Africa and a Keystone something else. I don't think it is a series because it's their first created. And I think if it was a series, they would have had another created there. 7-backed isn't terrible. It's better, way better than 0-backed. I obviously wish it was a little higher, but a lot of times it's like, this is Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, and there's other people here. So like, I wonder if Lindsay has like a ton of backed games or something. Yeah, back to 151 projects. So like, sometimes it's like, I get why you only have 7 backed games, and it's because you back things from your personal account and now you're creating games. And that's like a hard transition. Like, you don't just want to like fake back like 150 campaigns that you don't care about. Like, don't do that. But I'm glad that I could quickly find that she'd back to 151 projects. That's really cool. Cool. Kevin, think about all the cool polar bear minis we could have had. Yeah, I like that they leveraged the art throughout the upper part of the page. They leaned in really well into what their game was selling, and that was the animals. And like, I'm sure the gameplay is great, but like the artwork and the animals are a really important part of that, and I think that's really good. Lean in. Boardy McBoardface. Alex, why wouldn't you have minis in any game? You're right. I messed up. Oh, dang it. Starfall does have, it doesn't have miniatures. It has buildings. We haven't quite figured out what we're going to do for those. So maybe it is a little bit heavier. Okay. Keystone Endless Winter. Nice. I hope they do more. I mean, this is successful. I think it has 8 more days. I think it easily hit $100,000. They already hit 1,000 backers. Like, that's great for a first created. They should be really proud of that. Really nice page. Really, really nice page. Cool. Guys, Keystone Middle Earth. Oh, I'm sold, Dane. Man, the licensing on that would be rough, but I'm in. Let's do it. Let's do it. They should do it. Like, I would buy that in a second. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging with me. Long 2 days riding in the car with a toddler and an infant, and my wife's a champ for driving that whole way so I could work and look at these campaigns. Yeah, really excited that you guys came back after a week break, and I got to give a Kickstarter exclusive edition to Brett Jardin, and I need you to comment on the page, on the video after the stream ends with something to do with the Quarks boxes, because I want to hear what people think about these. I think they're awesome, but you know, I'm not everyone. I want to hear what everyone thinks. So cool. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, wait. Kickstarter does let you change your name if you haven't created a project yet. Not sure why you would just change your personal account to be the company one. Genius, Age of Adam. See, no, that's too logical. I would never think to do that. So that's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. join the Discord if you haven't. We're going to be playing a lot of games here, and I think we're playing some Lost Ruins of Arnak because I haven't played yet and I really want to. On Thursday in the Discord, we're going to be playing some new Moonrakers expansion stuff. We're going to be playing some Starfall soon, so we have a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and looking forward to talking to you guys soon. See ya.